Broadcasting from Watts Creative Studios and live on Grove Street FM, you're listening to Talk Local to Me, brought to you by the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Talk Local to Me. I am here in another crowded room today. It's really nice when we have this many guests that we can talk to and try and spread just local knowledge with so many different people. So, of course, I'm here with Tina, our lovely director of events.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a lovely day, isn't it?
It is. Actually, It is a really nice day. I wonder how our office feels. Have you been there today?
It's 62.
Oh, great. Our heat broke, so we're waiting on some part. And last week, we had icicles forming while we were in there.
I got a nosebleed.
She did. She was like, I'm so cold. My nose is bleeding. But they're fixing that. And it's getting a little warm. We plug in all the heaters, but then you can't use the microwave because it blows the breaker. So you can't heat up your coffee or anything to drink anything warm because then it just, everything. But it'll get fixed soon. So we are here today and we have Chris Morris here with us talking about random acts of Christmas, which I'm really excited to hear more about, and how you that are out there listening, how you can help with that. And then we are going to be talking with the hemp mill. I'm really excited for people to learn more about that and, how CBD can help you. And, we're just going to be learning about all types of things. I've been to the hemp mill and it's located in Vinton, and we'll learn more about that. And we're going to be speaking with Debbie. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good. I'm glad to have you here. And then we have the fantastic Mike Norfield back with us from Visiting Angels. As you know, Visiting Angels is a sponsor of our podcast, but I had him come back today because November is National Family Caregiver Month. And as you know, Visiting Angels, they work with in-home services and, they work a lot with those family caregivers. They, like my daughter, who is a CNA, and she works some with my mother, but we want to really honor those people that are working inside of the family that are caregiving, and then talk with Mike about how they can help with that. Right, Mike?
That's right.
Awesome. So, as you can see, we got a packed house. So I'm going to really quickly run down a few upcoming things. Christmas parades. Bedford and Lynchburg parades are December the 4th and December 5th. That's Bedford's is on December 4th, right here in downtown Bedford, kicking off at 11 a.m. And Lynchburg's is on the 5th at 4 o'clock. And that kicks off from the City Stadium in Lynchburg and heads to EC Glass High School. We have quite a few entries. We've got a pretty decent parade.
It must be my nagging. It must be deadline is the 19th.
Deadline
That's
is the 19th.
2 days from today.
So if you have not gotten a parade entry, if you're sitting there going, I want to be in the parade, I have to send in my application, please call us so we can send that to you. Or just call us. I'll fill out your application over the phone. I mean, just call us and get into this parade. But we've got
some really exciting floats that are people are doing floats this year.
I know.
That's exciting.
I'm most excited about that. We have a lot of floats. We have one float where we have a band on it singing, I think. I'm so excited about that.
Yes.
In Lynchburg, we have quite a few floats from participants that have not either been in it before or have, and they're just kind of up in their game this year. Yep. One of my favorites is the Lynchburg Public Works. They have 8 snow plows that they decorate every year. They paint the front of the plows and they make them into different, scenes. And so I'm really excited.
And that's the only way I like to see a snow plow.
Well, see, you're like, I don't want no snow. When are we getting snow, Chris, by the way, now that he's our local weatherman too?
Oh, that's right. We have Chris the weatherman in the house.
Chris the weatherman. I need some. Well, I like snow to a degree. I like it if it snows, but it doesn't snow on the road, so I can still go places and I'm not stuck with my kids driving me crazy.
Right.
That's the good type of snow, but I don't drive in it. Nope. I'm one of those people. I will be in a ditch and you'll be pulling me out. So I don't even drive in it. But yeah, so make sure that if you're either in the parade, you're set to watch the parade. If you're coming out to Bedford, please make sure on the 4th, we have so much going on. Come early, run a 5K or walk a 5K if you're interested in doing that with the Christmas Classic. You can sign up, through the the YMCA here in Bedford.
That'll have to be early though. What time
I think
does that
starts at 8. It might be a little earlier, but the run is first. Then there's the parade at 11. In between 11 and 3, I encourage you to go visit the Bedford Welcome Center, where they have the Festival of Trees going on. They have all the gorgeous decorated trees that are put up by community organizations and businesses, and you can vote for your favorite tree. Then come back to the center of Bedford, where we do the tree lighting ceremony. John Hayden has been putting a lot of work in. The tree is already up in the center of town, so we just have to decorate it, and then we light it at 6. But from 3 to 6, we have all kinds of things going on. We've got the ice carver that's there every year. He'll be carving something awesome in his big block of ice. I don't know how he does it. It's an amazing concept. It's awesome to watch him with like chips of ice flying everywhere. We have the carriage rides will be back throughout the middle of town. Businesses will be open, so shop local. Just so much going on. And then, of course, the tree will light at 6. So if you say there's nothing to do on December 4th, if you're just sitting at home bored, then you're not listening to me, because I'm telling you, there's so much to do.
And then even after the tree lighting, you can drive through the Elks Home and Liberty Lake Park.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
And see the lights there. So you might be Christmased out just by the 4th, but then please come to the Christmas parade on the 5th in Lynchburg. And then I'm sure there's also all types of other local parades going on. Roanoke, I think Amherst's parade is on the 3rd. Theirs is that Friday, usually before hours. Alta Vista's parade is usually the Saturday evening of the Bedford parades too. So if, you're out that way, Roanoke's parade, there's just so much going on to take your family out and do this holiday season. So make sure you're supporting your local businesses, shopping. Small Business Saturdays coming up. We do still have our giveaway. You still have time to enter that if you shop local at any store. Does not have to be a Central Virginia Business Coalition member. I mean, it's great if they are, but I just want you shopping local. I just want you getting out. I want you to support your local economy. Purchase something. Send the receipts in. You can email them to us. You can just post a picture on Facebook and tag us with the hashtag CVABC Shop Local. And you get entered into, we have 2 giveaways. We're giving away $250 gift certificate to the small business of your choice. And we also have a big stocking full of goodies from local businesses.
And there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, it's like wine from the Peaks of Otter. We've got earrings.
Jewelry, yeah.
Yeah, earrings from Marie Grace. We have, coffee mugs with little coffee. We got all kinds of stuff. It's over, I want to say right now we're sitting at a little over $200 in value. If you are a business that wants to donate something to it, let us know. We'll stuff it in that stocking and away we'll go. So, yeah, that's a lot of stuff. But speaking of local and supporting, we have Chris on today because he has started a program, Random Acts of Christmas.
Right.
Kindness, Christmas, however you want to put it. And I am really excited to hear more about it. I think it is a fabulous idea. The Central Virginia Business Coalition is definitely going to help out in some way, shape, or form. We're going to work on how we're going to do that. But tell us about what you're doing and how people can help you out.
Right. So the idea was basically just to kind of spread Christmas joy throughout the community. What we're doing is taking in donations and just finding random ways to use it, whether it's purchasing gift cards to a store and just walking around the store and handing them out. One idea is to get gift cards to a gas station, and just as people come up to get gas, just walking up, handing them a gift card, paying for their gas that day. Some big ideas that I've thought of are partnering with like a local coffee shop and just paying for people's coffee as they come in the morning, especially as we get into the Christmas season and, with the economy the way it is, and just any little thing to help people out. And I'm always open to any ideas that other people have as well.
I think now, would you look at doing donations of, like, let's say they have items and like maybe your socks or things like that, and then donating them to like different organizations or things like that? Or are you looking more towards like gift cards and just cash donations so you can go and do
it's
really
different
open,
giveaways? Yeah, it's really open to anything like that. Because I've looked at, just like the personal type thing, handing out, things to people, but then even going as far as like going to some of the different schools and doing something for the teachers there.
Oh, fun. I like that.
That type of thing. Or, helping out with the shelters, things like that. Just, it's pretty open-ended.
I think I love the idea though, because I know for a lot of families, they used to rely on like layaway, things like
Hmm.
that at different places. And, Walmart, of course, doesn't have layaway anymore now. There's different places that don't. And I know they're using like well, I find it funny. So they're using this thing called Affirm, which I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that, but
Yeah.
like Affirm bases stuff off your credit. And there are some people that you may be having layaway because you need that time to pay things. So like it to me, it just didn't make any sense, but I used it to hide my stuff. And I'm sure a lot of people do. I don't know. Like if you go in my office right now, Tina can tell you, I have Christmas gifts hidden in my office because I have nowhere at my house to put them. So I'm just stocking my poor little office up with like Christmas gifts. I'm gonna be in there wrapping. But I love that idea because you see people all the time and you never know whether $10 is just going to make their day or just something. They've been down on their luck and they
Right.
may not. It's just knowing somebody cares enough to, give back and do it selflessly, I guess. I know there's times that I'll go through Joe Beans and I'll pay for the person behind me, or you'll pay for like the food in the drive-throughs. A lot of times at Joe Beans, if I fill my punch card, I'll give the punch card to the lady and just say, give it to the person behind me. So if you're one of those people out there that even has those punch cards, that would be a good thing to offer up, that you guys can give out, things like that. So,
or maybe just visiting a retirement community. They so often we're coming up on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they a lot of the times don't get the folks coming in to visit them, and this is really the time that they could use a smiling face. Somebody come in and
definitely.
visit.
That was actually one of the ideas that I had. I was listening to Christmas music because I'm one of those people that listens to it early and doesn't care what people think.
Good for you.
But one of my favorite songs that never really hit the mainstream, but Clay Aiken did it several years ago after he won American Idol, called Merry Christmas with Love.
Aw.
And it's the whole story of this lady who her entire family's gone. It's just her. She's up in age. She kind of looks around her house and there's no point in decorating for Christmas. There's not going to be anybody here. And then a group of her friends comes and starts singing Christmas carols outside of her house and changes her whole outlook. And then she joins in with them. And so I was listening to that and I was like, well, that would be a good thing to do, at the Elks home or the community home or something
Maybe
like that.
that's something that we could do. We could get some members together and do some caroling.
that would be fun.
That would be fun.
One of the things I remember most about my childhood is my neighborhood. We used to have a lady there who would get all the kids in the neighborhood and she'd do, we'd actually practice Christmas songs for like a month leading up to Christmas. She made costumes. So some of us were angels, some of us were presents, some of us were elves, and we would go to Guggenheimer nursing home in Lynchburg. And for one night we go on every floor and we'd sing as we walked through, and they ate it up. Not just because we were singing, but kids dressed up like presents and elves and oh my, it was, I remember that. And we did that for years until, the lady who kind of organized it moved out of our neighborhood. And then, it just kind of, fell apart, but, that was so much fun. I'm not going to dress up like an elf if we do it. I can promise you that, but I think it's a good idea. It would be really neat to do. Yeah. So if someone's listening, Chris, and they want to help, they have, they want to either, catch up with you to give you some gift cards or, write you a donation. How do they do that?
They can either reach out to us through Facebook. We have a page set up called Bedford Random Acts of Christmas, or just my email address, which is chris@bedcophoto.com.
Wonderful. And when have you already started? Are you planning on doing this leading up through Christmas, throughout?
Oh yeah,
through then, or?
Yeah, we started getting donations in last week, and I'm actually going out and doing the first Random Acts today.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay, I'll let you know when I'm going to be at Joe Beans if you would like to be there. No, I'm just don't get me started on my Joe Beans session. I was talking about that before the show started. So, is there anything else that I'm leaving out that maybe
Not that I can think of, other than it's kind of a community effort. So the more help we get, the more we can do for other people, and everything. Like I tell people, it goes directly to this. We're not taking any administrative fees. I'm not taking any gas money out of it or anything like that. So every penny that's come in is going straight to stuff. I've taken everything we've gotten so far and bought gift cards and going to hand those out later.
Well, and that's one of the things I wanted to say to anyone listening. If you know Chris, and I jokingly say he's our local weather person, but we have had him on the show talking about weather because I know that's something you love and follow. And but he also does fabulous photography. And he has photographed the parade for us every year. He has done a lot of our events, and you always see him out in the community posting about things. Even if it's just a beautiful fall day. So I just know like your heart for the community is fabulous. And, for anyone who wants to help, I really encourage you to help out with the Bedford acts of
Yeah, the parade is
the
actually
random
one
acts
thing.
of Christmas.
The parade was one that I was trying to think of some sort of idea to do for that, but it's such a big event. So many people there.
It is. But let's think about it some. There might be something fun we can do even with the kids, whether it's just passing out something as we're walking through. Or
Right.
I
I don't
like
know.
that. Yeah.
I don't know that we can give gift cards to everybody, but
'Cause I guess
randomly.
I'll probably be there for the parade. Maybe.
You got to be there. We got to have pictures of like when our people break down. That's probably my favorite picture that you took was that one. Remember like
Yeah.
2 years ago when the truck broke down that was going through and everyone, literally people from the sides of the parade route came and helped push this truck up the parade route. It was like,
What a beautiful thought.
it was fabulous.
It was an amazing moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was.
It still has been one of my favorite things from the Christmas parades for the last several years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And witnessing it because it happened right in front of the
Mhm.
courthouse where we were at. Because when it first happened, I was like, what are we going to do? And then you just saw all these men and everybody just come out and just push this guy up the hill until he got started again. And then I think he broke down a little further and they finally just got him off.
Yeah. I think his whole drive shaft broke.
That's right. It fell
Ooh.
out.
Wow.
Just went boop. But anyway, well, thanks for coming on with us today. And
Yeah, well, thank you.
I encourage everyone, show some kindness this holiday season and help out.
Yeah. Thanks for all you do for the community.
Okay, so we're jumping from random acts of kindness, but we're going to talk today about hemp.
Right.
And I have Debbie here with the hemp mill, and they're located in Vinton. And one of the reasons I wanted Debbie to come on because I want people to hear about all they do. And I want people to get away from that stigma of if you hear the word hemp, you're smoking marijuana or, things like that. And that's what a lot of people think. Like as soon as I say it, that's like, oh, you're getting,
But hemp does so much more than that.
Well, it is.
yes,
And so is marijuana, to be honest.
Yes.
right.
Let's be clear. They're both from the cannabis species. No one is educated enough to be able to tell the difference between the two, which makes it a bit difficult for law enforcement, which is why we now have it legal in the state of Virginia.
Right.
That typically hemp is legal federally, marijuana is not. I expect that to change within the next 6 months to a year. But hemp and really does a lot of positive. It's the most nutritious plant on the planet. So nutritionally, it has a balance of omega-3s and 6s, has all your proteins, all your vitamins, all your antioxidants, and a very typically no non-detectable amount of THC, which is the psychoactive chemical compound, but has 147 cannabinoids, all which work on different parts of your body, but predominantly for as an anti-inflammatory. So we've had folks, I'm fortunate enough to have been the first female in the state of Virginia to be licensed as a processor and a grower for hemp. I've been practicing in botanicals, developing products for over 30 years, and see what happens when you do not take pharmaceutical products for any reason and augment your diet and your lifestyle with plant-based products. It makes such a wide difference, but we are referred to by most of the regional doctors. All of pain management doctors send folks to us. The VA hospital, Blue Ridge Autism, all for different elements. But the key is if you're borderline, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, borderline diabetes, and you just add hemp to your diet,
Mhm.
just every meal, do something with it. It will not change the way that your foods taste per se. You will actually bring all of that, your body back into balance. So prior to the 1930s, hemp grew throughout the United States. The animals ate the hemp. You ate the animals. Your clothes were made of hemp, so it was being transferred to your body through your clothing. You wrote on hemp. All the paper was made from hemp. So you got it transdermally as you touched it. Ropes were made of hemp. I mean, it was just a remarkable product. But on the other side, took away from the lumber industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and it's a renewable resource. So you can have, in Virginia, we can have 2 hemp crops a year. In Florida and Georgia, Mississippi, you can have 3 hemp crops a year. It takes 5 to 15 years to grow a tree. So the people who invested in all these lumber lands, and then all the folks that invested in the pharmaceutical industry, they didn't want to see hemp, and cotton fields, they definitely didn't want to see hemp growing the way that it is. And it's not the most profitable industry to be in. So the hemp mill was set up as an educational resource. I have a patent pending on products I grow the hemp for these products, as well as I've developed a formulation that is unique for cannabinoid products. Education is the key part of all of this, is telling someone, if you can buy something at the gas station that says CBD, chances are it doesn't have any CBD in it. And if it does, it's probably from a source, whether that's another country or even domestically, where the product has been treated with pesticides and fertilizers. And you can ingest that into your body. People have been doing it for decades with products like Cheerios. But if you're doing it to help with medicinally or to treat something an illness, you want to make sure that you know where the source is. And hemp is a remediator. It's been used at most nuclear events to clean the water and clean the soil. So if you're adding fertilizers and pesticides to get it to grow, now it's remediating all of that back into the plant and then into your body. So it's, we caution people. That is why we are such a strong referral source from all of these entities, is because you can literally come in, see how the plants are grown. You can watch the plants grow.
So does it grow kind of like a bamboo?
It would look a lot like bamboo, actually, at a distance. That as many times hemp has been, and marijuana have been mistaken for bamboo.
Huh. But it can be used for so many different things, just like the bamboo. Fabrics, papers.
You can. I actually am working with a team of engineers in India on a graphene battery. So you can, energy source, you can use it for the oil to power your car, a biofuel. It is much like bamboo in that it can be used for anything. Also like bamboo, the processes aren't there yet to be able to convert in a large mass scale. But for small artisanal craft, it's right there at it, for sure.
So I have, like I said, I've visited the hemp mill in Benton a couple of times now, and both times I've tried the coffee that you guys have there, and it's delicious. You can't taste it. It's not any different. It doesn't really have any, different flavor to it. But it does I felt calmer from that.
So the coffee has what's called the sugar leaves. The bottom leaves of the plant are dried and roasted in the final roasting of the coffee. It is a fair trade organic Arabica bean, one of the highest quality beans that you can purchase. And then we add hemp protein to it. So hemp protein, being a remediator, will take down the high acidity in the coffee and kind of balance it out, but it brings out all of the antioxidants that coffee has to offer. And so we let it sit for about a week to 10 days like that. and then we either sell it as the beans or we ground it. We do about 250 to 300 pounds of coffee a week.
Wow.
Do you do the tea bags as well?
We don't do tea bags because bags have toxins in them. Again, we're working with a product that can pull those toxins,
Right.
and we don't want that. But we do a tea ball, and we do loose teas.
Wonderful. Yeah.
They have, so that was one thing. They have the range of products they have there is wonderful because just walking in, like when they first joined the CVABC, you like to go in and meet and greet your members and learn more about them and what they do. And, so we stopped by. I went and ate at Farm Burgesa right next door. So I put all kinds of junk in, ate a fabulous burger, and then I waddled over to right next door to the hemp mill. But they have everything from like jams and jellies because we got the blackberry.
Nice.
We got the blackberry jam. And then, they have the things like you can use to help calm your dogs. They have, y'all have like greeting cards that are written on like hemp paper.
Yeah.
And socks.
Right.
And I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. Now here's my question, because I just was very sad to hear that I should probably quit eating my Cheerios. That's like I'm so weird. That's like the only cereal I eat because I can't stand sugar and milk and anyway. But we did purchase a bag of like those hemp hearts.
Right.
What do you use it? I did not educate myself on what I should use them for before we bought them. We were just like, oh, let's see, So what are things like that when you purchase? How do those help? How do you integrate them into what you're eating or you're doing?
So hemp hearts are from the center of the seed. 100% nutritious, very low calorie. You would add about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon each day if you would like to, whatever. You can toast them. You can just add them into soups or salads. Because they're oil rich, you can use them as a coating, much like you would a panko on chicken or fish or anything like that. But keep in mind, when you add, and the jam is a great example, we reduce the sugar by half and add hemp protein in its place.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who are watching their sugars, you've got now a product that is extremely fruity. You've had it. It tastes remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
It's made with fresh organic fruit, and the hemp protein brings out all the flavor of that fruit. It does taste sweet without having the sugar in it. So as you add hemp hearts to something, add that before you add salt or pepper or sugar, because you won't need to add as much, if any, when you add the hemp hearts to it.
So those are so that's one of the things that you're talking about, that if you have the high cholesterol or the blood pressure, that you could utilize to help
Bring
with
it down.
that.
Because
Okay.
you're actually reducing. Same thing with the coffee. You mentioned Farm Burgesa. Those guys like to add 6 creams and 5 sugars to everything next door because they're from Colombia. And so I said, okay, do not add anything to this coffee until you try it. And so they did. And it wound up being about a half of a sugar and a cream before it was all done, because you don't need to add all of that to the coffee, because the tannins that are found in the coffee are brought down.
What about topical lotions? Sometimes you see the pain reliever ointments. Does that work as well as if you were to ingest the oil?
It can. It depends on, so every body metabolizes things differently. I always go back to alcohol because that's where I started developing products, that industry. But think about how some people can drink a glass of wine and be fine, and some people drink a half a glass of wine and they're under the table.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing. And it also, the synergy between the other ingredients. So there are products on the market that add menthol to them.
Mm-hmm.
So menthol just numbs. So you think you're getting the benefit of something when you're actually not. It's not actually bringing down inflammation, or it's not actually providing deep relief. It is skin relief that it's providing, and it's because it's numbed it through menthol or eucalyptus
Yes.
or something like that. There are products.
An over-counter product right
yeah,
now
yeah.
out on the market. And
There's-
I use that.
There's lots of them. If you put something on your body transdermally and it doesn't last for 6 hours, I would find something else. You shouldn't have to be putting something on all day long to be able to get relief.
Now, do you offer something?
We do. We do. We have an excellent transdermal product that also combines, again, back to the synergistic properties, doesn't have any water in it. And that's something else. Look at your ingredients. Look and see what, if it's water based, chances are it's not going to work as well for you because it's not as effective. It breaks down all the other ingredients that it's been put with, that has been combined into that product. So it's everybody needs to educate themselves on whatever it is you're using, whether it's hemp or, ice cream. I have a very good friend who I ruined her ice cream experience because I said, read the ingredients. And I said, most ice creams have polypropylene glycol in them to make them creamy. But that's not something you really want to be ingesting, even though it's food grade and the FDA says it's okay. Think about what you're putting in your body. I plan on never taking a pharmaceutical, and living a long life.
So I know you were talking about you have patents on different things. Right now, especially, COVID, the past couple of years, things have been kind of crazy for local small businesses, and you're kind of stepping into that whole entrepreneurship and starting something new. How is that, working? How is it to be an entrepreneur right now, especially with an item that some people are so, up in the air about, or they don't know, much about?
And so our business is thriving. We've gone from a 2-person, one of the person being me, establishment to having 10 people in our employ. Part of that has got to, and I also have nurse practitioners and physician assistants for medical marijuana. So part of my business has titrated to the medical marijuana program. But maybe in this area it still has a negative connotation, but in most of the country, they could care less. It's not a big deal. It's not I go out in public all the time with, this is a 100% hemp mask. So hemp as a fabric is antimicrobial, antiviral, antifungal. I can wear this mask all day long, never have any issues with my face. The face doesn't break out. I don't feel like I'm suffocating. I can breathe completely because it is made out of hemp. But it also has a hemp leaf design. 99% of the people never even notice it. Never even, nothing. Now, 5 years ago when I would do this, if I would wear anything with a hemp leaf on it, earrings, whatever, it was always being commented on. Today, not so much. It does not have stigma, does not have any kind of negative connotation. In fact, last week, I spoke at an event in a church on medical marijuana with all of the beautiful stained glass all around. And I have a plant there, and I'm talking about the benefits of medical marijuana inside a church. So,
Well, tell us a little bit about the benefits of medical marijuana.
So medical marijuana has obviously it has THC in it. It is legal in the state of Virginia with a certification and registration through the state of Virginia, but allows you access to high quality product that how it's grown. So the product is tested as a plant, it's tested when it's harvested, it's tested when it's processed, and it's tested before it's sold to you. And so depending on who you are and what you're trying to solve, it can help alleviate symptoms of various diseases such as cancer or Alzheimer's or
the treatment.
The treatment,
yes.
Yep, and MS. So you have all of those benefits. If you have anxiety, PTSD, we work a lot with vets who have PTSD, and they're on so many different medications, and all of the multiple side effects that come from that, their quality of life is very poor. So by working with them to figure out what type, and most of them smoke marijuana. Don't think they don't. They already do. But They don't know where it is. They don't know who's grown it. They may decide to grow it now themselves. They don't know what strains to go to. We help them navigate that. But through the medical program, we can say, you might be better suited for a vape. You might be better suited for a topical product. You might be better suited for an ingestible. All of them affect your body differently. Topicals are transdermal. If you do like a hard candy or a lollipop or something like that, or a tincture, that you get through your buccal and goes straight into your bloodstream. A vape does as well. Flower or bud, when you smoke it, that goes into your lungs and goes into your body. An edible is metabolized in your gut and goes through your liver and your kidney. Everything affects you differently and gets into your body differently. So depending on what you're trying to solve,
Sorry, that was my phone.
depending on what you're trying to solve, you may have differences in strains. You may have differences in viability. And we work with folks on all of that.
Now, the CBD, you see it everywhere now.
Right.
That is it's lacking the mind-altering chemicals.
It's lacking everything.
Yeah.
If you see something says CBD, I would run. We don't sell a thing in our store that says CBD.
Because I was going to ask you, what's that process? How do you do that?
So CBD is an acronym. It's a buzzword. It's a marketing word. And it's sold to people who don't know anything. And so it is one element in the hemp plant. And to be honest, I mean, legally, if a product says CBD on it, the only item that legally can say CBD is Epidiolex, which is a anti-seizure drug for children with epilepsy.
Wow.
Because it's one element. It is called an isolate, and it's one compound. So it would be a lot like a Sprite selling itself as sugar, but it's in a Sprite bottle or a Coke or whatever. It's extremely misleading. This industry is not regulated.
So we should be looking specifically for hemp, not CBD.
Right. If you want to get all of the benefit, that's what you should be looking for.
So I know, and I think you're correct when you talk about education being so important.
Right.
My mother has multiple sclerosis, and I have talked to her a couple of times about medicinal, marijuana, and if that could help her, but she can't get past the stigma of marijuana. You know what I mean? Just thinking, oh, I'm just taking marijuana and
cannabis.
So we have a group of women, ages 85 or 86 to 94. That come in and vape a couple of times a month, sit around, talk.
I may have met them when I came in.
You may have. They were sitting over on, I think they were one day.
Yeah,
they were sitting there and they just sit there and they vape. They talk about their grandkids, their great-grandkids. But you know what the best part about this is? These are all women who at one point in time had to have somebody drive them, or they were using a walker, or they were using a cane, and now they're driving themselves. They're completely and totally independent. Their minds didn't go. Their bodies did.
Oh.
And a lot of that was due to inflammation. And so, I mean, they talk about putting puzzles together. They take trips. They go shopping. All because their whole entire mindset in life has changed. No more gabapentin. No more Neurontin. No more Xanax. No more Lipitor. No more. I mean, none of it. None of it. These women are remarkable. We have a group of men. So that's our Friday people. Our Thursday people are men age late 70s to mid 60s and in the exact same situation. Although they're more on they like edibles. So I always fix hemp treats for them. I have the best gluten-free cookies you'll ever try, made with hemp protein, hemp jam, all organic. And so these guys will eat those, drink coffee. But the fact is they're enjoying their life. They're not waiting for it to end. Too many of and several things have happened over the last 40 years. A lot of it's got to do with the way that medications have become so prevalent. They may fix this over here, but the domino effect is you're taking 7 more by the end of it. But the appreciation of what these folks bring to our lives, we tend to discount that, not appreciate it. And through this medical marijuana program and we just do the certification part there and the education part and the hemp program and being part of the community. In case anybody cares, I'm literally in front of the police station. So,
And that is a fact.
and so everything we do, everything that we promote, we work very closely with our community to be able to make it a healthier community.
So for someone who is listening to the show and maybe wants to find out more information, like I know, so you know, my mom takes like 28 different pills a day.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's crazy
It's
the
horrible.
amount of pills she has to take on a daily basis. You know,
And think
between
about
morning,
what that's
noon,
doing to her liver
and
and,
evening,
her
yeah.
kidneys. I bet she's taking something for stomach upset as well.
Oh,
because
yeah.
all of that
Well,
upsets her stomach.
she actually has a hiatal hernia right now, and we've had a lot of issues with that. But I'm not going to give my mom's business all out on a podcast. But you know, for people that are listening and want to hear or learn more, or just come in and talk with you about, you know,
Yeah.
maybe what their thoughts are. How can they reach you? Where are you located? All those good things. Give me all the websites and the Facebook pages.
Okay.
And
Facebook is the Hemp Mill at Innovation Mill. And you can just leave a message on that and I'll get that. You can contact me personally at Debbie, Debbie, Custer, Custer, at msn.com. I respond very quickly. I have, like I said, we have a team of people. I have folks who get questions to me immediately, and we'll be happy to help you in any way. And if your mom wants to call, I mean, probably a couple of simple things with her diet, and that would be beneficial as well for her.
Debbie, what if there's someone listening who has some property and thinking, maybe I'll try growing some hemp? Are you mentoring any new farmers?
I tell them to run. There's no money in it. There's a lot of cost and no money. Run. I will be very honest with you. There's too many people that have lost money over the last 5 years in what I call medicinal hemp, flower hemp, whatever you want to call it. There's too many people out there who lost significant tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh my!
And some gentleman in Virginia has lost over $1 million. So that's not something I would recommend people get into. If you want to grow for clothing or for bedding or for the insulation in your home or for a car, we import about $1 billion a year in hemp for cars that are produced in this country for the insulation in the interior of the cars. Every Mercedes, every BMW, Volvo, whatever's built, all of the inside are hemp.
Wow.
But we bring that in because it's a specific strain, processed a specific way for that specific use. There's nobody doing it right now in the United States. There's even a gentleman in Waynesboro who does quite a bit with, it's called hurd. It's kind of a shredded hemp. And he buys his from overseas because nobody's grown those strains yet and the processing's not there. So I would wait until it's the chicken and the egg thing, end user, processor, grower. But it's a very labor intensive plant to grow. The weed terminology comes because it grows tall, not because it grows anywhere, because it does not. It grows better in drier climates than it does in our humidity. But, you'll see these billboards talking about growing your tomatoes. That's what they're talking about. You have to do the same kind of care and tending to it that you would do to tomatoes. Can't over water, can't over light, all that stuff.
so what is the physical location, the address for the hemp mill?
It's 301 South Pollard, Vinton, Virginia. And our website is thehempmill.net.
Awesome. Thank you. So we could probably sit here and talk to you for like another hour, I feel like, because there's so much that you guys do. And actually you brought up the insulation and it reminded me that y'all also have bricks. Aren't y'all like building hemp bricks to like build houses?
We teach people how to do hempcrete. We have all of the hurd there, the lime to build the bricks. It's an R23 factor. So if you build a home out of hemp, it probably will stay about 65 degrees year round. And so it's mold proof, insect proof. fire resistant up to 600 and some degrees. I mean, it's crazy how amazing this plant is.
Puts a new spin on I'll huff
It
and puff
really
and blow your
does.
house
It
down.
really does.
Yes. So we'll definitely have to have you back on because there's so much.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all
yes,
very
yes.
much.
Thank you for coming. Hey, Mike, thanks for being a sponsor of the podcast. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
I'm just kidding. Mike's over here in the corner.
I got the comfy chair today, so
Yes,
I'm
yes.
good.
No, but truthfully, thank you to Visiting Angels for being a sponsor of Talk Local to Me. They have been sponsoring for, almost since we started here.
Yeah.
And we're going to be coming up on a year at the very end of February, Woody.
That's right.
It's going to be
Gosh,
awesome.
it's flown by.
Y'all have listened to my voice for almost a year. So anyway, but yes, Visiting Angels, they do a fabulous job in our community, helping with home health care. And, Mike, tell us, I know, you were on the show a couple weeks ago, but really quickly, give us a rundown of what Visiting Angels does before we jump into the home, the family care.
Sure, we help with bathing, dressing, grooming. We can help with walking to reduce fall risks, medication reminders, even errands and shopping and light housekeeping. And probably our most popular thing that we do is we do some meal preparation to make sure they're not just eating. If you've got a family member living alone, that they're not just eating the little microwave meals and things like that. Or my son, I think, could live on the Uncrustables. We had a client who loved those, and we would go in and we would make him dinner, but lunch every day was Uncrustables. So, but we we just go in and try to help with those things. And I think one of the reasons we're here today is it's National Family Caregiver Month,
Right.
and we help a lot of families. When you think in-home care, a lot of people think, oh, that's a big commitment. It's around the clock care, things like that. We go for as little as 8 hours a week, 4 hours at a time. And we can sometimes just give that family member a break so that they're not getting quite so burnt out. Takes the stress off them. We have quite a few clients that we go when the family goes on vacation because their mom or dad can't travel or doesn't want to travel. And but they want to be able to get away and know that their family member's safe. So we'll go in, 6, 7, 8 hours a day and just kind of make sure everything's going well and keep the family informed. We have an online portal where you can check in and see how things are going, different things like that. So, we also try to be a resource for our community for other types of home health. We do like the personal care side, but there's also companies that help with like physical therapy, occupational therapy, wound care, all sorts of things like that. And we try to be a good referral source for that, as well as even, believe it or not, facilities. When somebody's looking, is home care the right choice or is a facility the right choice? We can kind of help guide that as well.
Some of those therapies that you were just talking about, does that take place within the home or do you take them?
So usually if somebody has our services and they can't travel outside the home very well, a lot of times companies will come in and do physical therapy in the home. If they need a more intense physical therapy, a lot of times they'll have them go out, or if it's just recovering from a surgery, but they're otherwise very mobile, sometimes they'll have them go to like Rehab Associates, they'll have them go to a facility that they have for that.
And if you have a family member providing the majority of the service themselves at home, but let's say it was an accident or a stroke and they have a parent or a spouse who now needs someone with them 24/7, for instance, and the spouse, for instance, or a child, or maybe even a parent for a child, they have absolutely no medical background. Do you all do training?
We try to work with them and get them training and give training and advice on how to do things. Probably the biggest thing we do is we have a registered nurse that comes in and does an assessment, and she'll recommend, hey, this would be a lot easier if you had a shower chair, if you had a stair lift instead of having to try and get them up the stairs, if they have problems with steps and mobility, things like that, all the way to, just making sure that the home is safe, that there aren't rugs that you can trip over. If the rugs are starting to curl up, it's time to either do something to get those so that they lay flat. We've had clients that, would just tape down the edges with double-sided tape so they don't slide, or put skid reducing mats underneath them so that they don't slide, just to kind of make sure that they have somewhere stable to walk and somewhere that's not extra slippery. So.
Now, are your angels CNAs?
So all of our angels are CNAs or PCAs, which is a personal care aide. They go through 40 hours of training with state mandated course to where they have to take certain courses and do clinicals and things like that. And we actually offer, so we're currently hiring. We start, $13 to $15 an hour. We pay more for weekends and overnights, things like that. And we have a new program that we've partnered with Raspberry Hill, another CVABC member, that they actually provide the course and we'll pay for it. You just have to commit to working for us for a certain number of hours a week for
cool.
6 months a week, a year or something. So we've actually sent one person through that class, and it's been so successful. But just like everywhere, hiring right now is really hard. So we do everything we can to be a caregiver-friendly employer. We flexible time off, and
What kind of employee are you looking for?
I'm looking for an employee who loves working with seniors, enjoys going to work, who enjoys helping people. And, it's not always pretty work, but it's always rewarding work. And I say that not doing the care myself, but just managing the office. We work hard to make sure that our caregivers know that they're respected and valued, and not just part of our company, but they're part of our culture and our team. For us, team is from the top down. I've got my registered nurse. She's working with clients this week because someone needed some extra care, and the caregiver worked with another client, so she's filling in so that caregiver can go and work mainly with that one client for a week or two while someone recovers from a surgery. So, our staff from the office, there is no, well, this is your job and this is our job. We all do whatever we can to help everyone have an easier time.
What about referrals? I'm sorry, I know you're
Nope.
about to say referrals from doctors. Do you get them?
We do. We have a lot of time long-term care insurance companies will reach out to us and say, hey, I've got someone that's looking for care. Most long-term care insurances work with Visiting Angels because even though we are a local business, we are part of a national brand. So, just because you see commercials on TV that look very polished and finished, it doesn't mean that we're not a small local business.
So insurance and Medicaid, Medicare, do they?
So Medicaid will cover some services. We're not a company that works with Medicaid just because the whole process, we're not really big enough to be able to manage that. But Medicare doesn't pay for our services. They should, but they don't. So a lot of it's private pay or long-term care insurance, and we do a lot with veterans benefits as well. So if you're a veteran and you think like, man, I could really be using some help, or if you're a spouse of a veteran and you think, I really could use some help with them because their health is declining, please contact the VA. That's kind of a lengthy process to do, but definitely worth doing. They pay for up to 15 hours a week. It's, they do like 3-hour shifts a day, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but our veterans that receive care, just about every single one of them says, I don't know how I managed without this before. So that's probably one of my favorite kind of clients is the veteran clients, just because they've a lot of times their health is affected because of things they were exposed to. So
That's right.
we're very happy. That's my favorite kind of client. I love to go see them. So we help all sorts of people. We cover Lynchburg, Bedford, all the surrounding counties, Amherst, Madison Heights, Forest, everything around there.
And we were talking with Chris about doing something kind for the holidays.
Yeah.
I guess you can vouch for that. If you go and visit someone who is either homebound or not able to mobily get out, aren't mobile themselves.
Right. So the favorite part of my job is not actually part of my job. So when I go by, and we'll just go by and see how things are going and check on our clients and things like that. And it's great that, when I go in, sometimes I'll go in and plan like, I'm just going to pop in for 5 or 10 minutes and 2 hours later I'm leaving and they're sending me with some homegrown tomatoes or something like that. Like they just appreciate that extra visit. So during National Family Caregiver Month, if you've got a family member that's caring for somebody, maybe just go and do a visit. That's a great way that the only thing it costs is part of your time, and just go and spend some time with the senior and the family member. Because a lot of times, especially if their spouse has dementia and they're caring for them, they don't have a lot of normal conversation like they used to because their spouse doesn't quite remember or can't hold a conversation as well. And sometimes it's just good for them to have that interaction with someone from outside the home.
And that was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show today, is because, National Family Caregiver Month, I think is a fantastic, it's good to be aware that there are thousands of people taking care of their loved ones. And right now I've heard there's more of that sandwich generation. So there's people like myself who are trying to take care of my mother, but I also have a 9-year-old, a child. And then I have a full-time job. And so those sandwich generation, they're running, and they're stressed out, but they want to, they want their parents to have the best care possible. They want their kids to have the best care possible. They want to do their job well. So, having an organization like Visiting Angels that I feel can help step in and just give that break, even if it's for a couple of hours a day, just to give them the opportunity to go out and get your hair done. I mean, I know sometimes just me going to get my hair done, I feel like a completely different person. Just honestly, if I can just go to the grocery store without somebody hanging on to me, it's a good day. It's a great, and I don't have to buy an extra bag of Cheetos because they're throwing them in my cart or things like that. But I think that a lot of people they get lost to the fact that so many families are struggling to keep their parents and loved ones in the home, and they're trying to keep them close and not sending them off to nursing homes or facilities. They're wearing themselves thin. So I think it's important they know that there are places that can help with that.
Right. And, the other thing to factor in as well is, a lot of people are like, oh, having someone come in the home is expensive, but the lost wages for family caregivers in America reaches into the billions of dollars.
Wow.
So it can affect, small companies. We recently went through some health issues with my dad, and I know that, luckily I have a very flexible job because we are family owned. So I was able to take time and go do things that when my parents needed things. And, he's on the other side of that now, doing a lot better. But I know personally how much that can pull you away from even just mentally, sitting in my office worried about, well, are they going to be able to do this or that or this, and, I'm like, well, I need to get back to work. So let me focus back on this. A lot of times just knowing that you've got someone who is helping out, even if just part-time, could take a lot of that pressure off.
And I think that's the same for me because my job is pretty flexible. If I need to be out, I can work, virtually, but a lot of my family, it's not that way. So if something needs done, the first person that gets called is Heather. Like, oh, Heather doesn't have to be in the office. Heather runs her, she can just do whatever she wants. Right. I guess they just feel like I can just, go off and do whatever. But, some people are more stringent with their time. I mean, they have sick time. They have, they have to answer to a supervisor or a manager and have to get those approvals. So, of course, the first person, for me, if I'm in the emergency room with my mom till 3 a.m, which has happened more times than I can count on both hands, I can sleep in a little bit the next morning because I've time to go home. And, the rest of them are like, oh, I got to get the kids to school and then I have to be at my job at 8. So, It always seems to fall on those that, you get the brunt of it and you're still doing all this other stuff too. So,
they're angels.
Yes, I can.
We are aptly named.
I definitely want to give a shout out to all those out there to caring for their loved ones in any way, shape, or form, because, I think that you don't realize, and maybe a lot of times the family that you're taking care of either can't tell you or don't know how to tell you, but I think deep down you're appreciated. Across the board.
Well, thank you.
And you too, Mike. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Me too.
I thought earlier when you were getting ready to say your favorite part about your job was being a member of the CVABC.
That's the second favorite part.
Sponsor and a delegate and all the other fabulous things you do for us. So I'll let that slide. But thank you for coming on with us today and just giving a little bit of insight into that and what you offer. Thank y'all for listening in. We had a jam-packed show, and we hope that you have learned something from it. Make sure that you check in the comments. We'll post the Hemp Mills information. And until next week, talk local to you.